It's time for Twist, the week in sports talk, with your hosts Mike Reeves, Matt Benz, and Greg Green Bay Baum.
There he is.
Coming live from the Minuteman Press Studio, here's your hosts.
What's going on?
Here we are.
Hello. Welcome in.
Episode Percy Harvin.
That gives me a headache.
12.
Holy cow.
We got to
still in the NFL?
No, but he's number 12.
I know.
Why is it every single episode we do, Greg chimes in and he pisses me off? He says something
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
He
He
just
just,
in the first 10
he
seconds.
just gets it going. Oh, my goodness.
Struck a chord.
Man, it's been a great week in sports, and we are going to hit it all today. So I wanted to touch on something before our interview. I don't know if you guys caught the introductions to the All-Star game with Common,
No, I did not.
the rapper. So he's real sly on his introductions and stuff. So it got me thinking, and I wanted to do something for us.
He's from the land of 10,000, and he's got many friends. Let's give it up for Matt Benz.
There it is. Let's go.
I can't wait to hear this.
Wisconsin claims him, but we found him. Let's give it up for Greg Green Bay Bauman.
Yeah.
That's all nice and, that's all
I like
nicer than
that
I
one.
thought
Yeah.
it would be.
Yeah. Kept it polite.
It's time to get dirty. He rolls up his sleeves. Let's give it up for Mike Reeves.
Oh, man. Very poetic.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very poetic.
So it just got me
Yeah.
thinking Common obviously did a much better job.
I wouldn't say that.
So we're going to get into our first interview here in just a minute. It's with Pat Micheletti. Pat's a former American Ice Hockey Center who appeared in a total of 12 NHL regular season games with the Minnesota North Stars. He was also a great Minnesota Gopher hockey player, and he calls games now is on KFAN. But in the theme of the All-Star game introductions, I had to do one for Pat.
He carved through the ice like a machete, skating around steady and sweaty. Please give it up for our special interview. Are you ready for Pat Micheletti?
Beautiful. I love that. Very nice.
Nice work. Found a lot of rhymes for Micheletti.
I was going to say that. I Googled what rhymes with spaghetti.
There it is. Excellent.
And that's what I found. So, yeah, he was actually good enough to join us. He does Beyond the Pond on KFAN, and he actually just texted me. He is ready, Pat Micheletti.
Beautiful.
So we're going to give him a buzz and kick off Twist here with him.
Hi, Mike.
Pat, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Pat, welcome in to Twist Live.
Well, I'm happy to be here, fellas.
It's weird, driving in today, we're obviously always listening to K-Fan, and we hear you on Beyond the Pond, and it's very strange now hearing your voice on our show. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
excellent.
It's kind of funny. My dad's in town. I'm from Wisconsin, and my dad's in town. And on the way here, I said, Dad, you know what's funny about listening to this guy on the radio? He's like, what? And I said, we're going to be talking to him about 45 minutes.
It's awesome. So getting right in, Mike's probably got a little bit. You want to start it off?
Yeah, we just gave your background. Obviously, you're a
Okay.
huge hockey player for the state of Minnesota, not just high school for Hibbing, but for the Gophers, and a long career, mostly in the minors, but also with the North Stars for a little bit. So we gave a background for our listeners. We are joined with Pat Micheletti. I had a fun little background for you. Maybe I should play it for you. Let me pop it up real quick. See if you can hear it.
He carved through the ice like a machete, skating around steady and sweaty. Please give it up for our special interview. Are you ready for Pat Micheletti?
Yes. Isn't
I
that?
am. That's very impressive.
It
I've
is
had a
awesome.
lot of intros. I've had a lot of intros before, but none like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know, and I'm going to rank that one as the best ever.
Yes, that's what we go
You
for
just
here on
made
Twist.
you just made Mike's month.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yep.
So, first and foremost, I got a question for you, Pat.
Yep.
You know, the Gophers last night, they ended in a tie, but how does that work? So we didn't get a point and Penn State did? Is that how it worked?
No, you know, and each league is kind of different in how they divvy out points. But what happened was they each the game ended in a tie, so they each get a point, and then there's an extra point given for the overtime winner. So Penn State ended up getting 2 points last night, and the Gophers won. But nonetheless, it was a good point to get on the road for the Gophers.
Okay. And then, so can the Gophers make the tourney without winning the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, you know, right now, if the season ended today, yes, they would be in.
Okay.
But the problem is, you know, you've got 16 teams that make it, and it goes by the pairwise rankings. But the only hiccup there is that if there's some upsets in conference tournaments, let's say, you know, the 47th place in the pairwise upsets and wins their tournament, well, then they get an automatic bid.
Sure.
So that would knock out a team that is kind of on the bubble. So, you know, ideally, you know, if the Gophers win their tournament, they're in, and if not, it's going to be awfully close.
Okay.
So the Gophers were a dismal 5-9-5 before the holiday break.
Yep.
After that, since turned out, I believe, a 9-2-2 record. You know, if they do reach the tournament, are they even equipped to make a run?
You know, I think they are, because you know, they started out the year very slow, but they were very young. A lot of freshmen in their lineup, and I tell you what, guys, it takes time to learn the college game, to get acclimated. When you have almost 11 freshmen in the lineup, it's going to take time. And I knew they were going to be a better team come January, and that it has proved itself out. But you know, that's why I really hate the pairwise rankings, because you know, you see teams that are much better at this time of the year than they are at the beginning of the year. But all those games at the beginning of the year are really important, and if you don't win them, then it kind of hurts you in the pairwise, and you have to really work hard that second half of the year to get back up.
Sure.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, this is very important, Pat. And if it's not true, please lie. Are the Gophers better than the Badgers?
Well, you know what? Wisconsin is kind of, oh boy, they're loaded with talent. They haven't been able to put it together. You know, if you look at their lineup and you look at it on paper, you would say this team should be a shoo-in to make the national tournament. And they've struggled mightily this year. And for them to get in, they're going to have to win. They're going to have to win the conference tournament. And you know, I don't see that happening this year. You know, college hockey needs Wisconsin to be a player. You know, they need to be, you know, a top 10 team year in and year out. And it's for the betterment of college hockey. And they struggled this year. And so, you know, yes, to answer your question, Minnesota is a better team than Wisconsin this year.
That is correct. Thank you, Pat.
All right.
Yep, no problem. And even though, and listen, but I will tell you this. I will tell you this, guys, that if you know, I watch teams all throughout the country, and I would tell you, if Wisconsin was a better team than Minnesota, I'd be the first to say it. You know, I'm not a homer. I want the Gophers to win, but I will give you the straight shot.
We appreciate it.
Nice. Pat, what I want to ask you, being from Wisconsin, you know,
Yep.
as the kids growing up playing hockey that excelled, they really didn't have a choice. If they're going to stay in state, they were going to go to Wisconsin. It's cut and dry. For you growing up in Hibbing, being a standout high school athlete, did you ever feel the pressure to be, whether it's, you know, you had the choice, a Gopher or a Bulldog? And was there ever really that pull for you, or was it Gophers since day one?
Well, I'll tell you a little story. UMD came up to watch one of our games, and the head coach at the time was Gus Hendrickson, and his assistant was Mike Sertich. And they were both there, and they came down in our locker room after the game, and they told me, we're not going to recruit you because we know you're going to Minnesota. Because both my brothers were there. But, I was a big fan of Wisconsin hockey. I was a big fan of North Dakota hockey, and they both offered me scholarships. And, it was not a slam dunk that I was going to Minnesota. My heart of hearts had me end up there, just because both my brothers were captains. They won national championships, and so I just, at the end of the day, I ended up going to Minnesota. But I tell you, Wisconsin, Denver, and North Dakota were at the top of my list, and I was strongly considering all three of them.
Wow.
It's not so cut and dry anymore. The Minnesota State Mankato Mavericks are on the map, and I was born in Mankato. All my family's in Mankato. My grandpa, God rest his soul, is actually in the Hall of Fame for the Mavericks hockey team. He had coached and was actually a huge part of getting that arena there now. So can you touch on what the Mavericks are doing?
Well, I tell you, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice this weekend, and we all know Herb Brooks and what he did in bringing a gold medal for Team USA. Now, we would not have Division I hockey in Bemidji, Mankato, or St. Cloud if it wasn't for Herb Brooks. And he had a vision of growing the game, and along with all the great people of Mankato and St. Cloud and Bemidji who, helped spearhead the deal. But, we're blessed to have 5 great programs in the state of Minnesota. We have 5 great coaches, and it's given kids who didn't think they had a chance an opportunity to play. And that's wonderful.
So, Pat, you brought up, the 40th anniversary of the Miracle. Where were you at 40 years ago when the buzzer sound and we won the gold?
Well, I was a sophomore in high school, and we were practicing at the time, and we knew the game was on. We knew it was on live TV, so we had a little transistor radio right on our bench. And as things got tight, and as we had one of our managers listening to it while we were practicing, well, all of a sudden, the U.S. has got a lead, and we stopped practice, and our whole team sat on the bench and listened to the rest of the game. And I tell you what, that inspired a lot of young kids, especially one Pat Micheletti, to work hard and get better.
Awesome.
So, you wouldn't get it. You can't see me, Pat, but for our viewers, my get up is all wild. But as a casual hockey fan, I absolutely love what Bill Guerin is doing with the team. We don't see things like this in Minnesota, whether it's from hockey and what they're doing or from the Timberwolves side and kind of what they're doing, just making all these moves and shuffling the deck, as Matt likes to say. Do you like what he's doing? Do you tend to agree with me, or are you leaning the other way?
Well, I really like it a lot. And I'll tell you what, when you have the opportunity to bring in a Hall of Famer, a Stanley Cup champ, automatically you got a guy who's a winner. And who knows how to win, and knows how to put together a team that knows how to win hockey games and creating the right culture. And I think Billy's done a terrific job. And then you bring in Mike Modano, another Hall of Famer, and all of a sudden, the players know that you got guys in there that have played at the highest level, won at the highest level, and all of a sudden you start understanding that, what, I gotta raise my game. I gotta raise my level. I have to learn how to become a champion. And I think that's what Billy, more than anything, brings to the table.
Sure, and I think Billy really understands, the concept of how hockey's changing into more of a fast-paced, more on speed rather than, brute strength and things of that nature. What's some of the Wild's biggest needs this offseason? I mean, fast forwarding, regardless of what the pick is, and where they're looking free agency wise, what do you think is their biggest needs this offseason?
Pretty simple. They need a goaltender that can play you 50 games and be consistent every night, and they need two dynamic centermen. Listen, the turnaround for this team, and the season's not over yet, but to turn this team into a championship caliber team, it's not going to take a whole lot, not as much as people think. I can tell you that, because you got the addition of Kaprizov coming in next year, and then if you get a high draft pick, well, you have room to play with, and whether it's taking a centerman or trading that pick away to get a number one centerman, it won't take long, and all of a sudden your top six changes. And that's been the problem with this team, is that they have on their bottom half, they're pretty darn good. I take their third and fourth line any day of the week.
Sure.
But it's improving your top six, and that gets to a point where you're in a 1-1 game or a 2-2 game or down a goal, where you have a stud dynamic player, to tie it up or get you the win. And that can make all the difference. So I don't think they're that far away.
Sure.
And, I'm really looking forward to Kaprizov coming over and seeing what they can do this offseason.
This season's not over, and the trade deadline is Monday. Do you see us making any moves before then? Do we need to make a move? Can we kind of sit tight and wait for the offseason?
Well, I think they're going to assess that, and that's all part of the process, right? And listen, if they get blown away by an offer that's going to make their team better, maybe not today, but maybe next season or the following season, well, then I think you make the deal.
Sure.
And if not, there's no gun to the head here in terms of making a deal by Monday. And, I don't think there's one player that they're going to get that's going to vault them to make them a Stanley Cup contender this year. That being said, if they don't make a deal, I'm fine with it, because really a lot of the deals will be made, come draft time in June. And so there's time. And like I said, if they get offered a deal that is going to make them a better team now, or, a trade that will help them for the future, then you absolutely do it. But no hurry to do it.
So we're joined now with Pat Micheletti, the hockey god of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Minnesota teams this year, the Wild need to hit in the draft. We have potentially 2 picks coming up. You mentioned centers and goaltender. Who are some of the names they could target, and what would they bring to the team?
Well, Jason Lafreniere is the best player in the draft. And I don't know if there's a Connor McDavid in the group, but this kid is the best group. We can talk a bunch of names. People won't know about them, but I can tell you this. This is a very, very deep draft. You may see 10 guys, the top 10 picks, being able to make it in the National Hockey League next season. And that, that bodes well for a lot of teams. And so it's a very deep draft. Minnesota has 2 picks in the first round, and that should be a good start for them.
Awesome.
You mentioned Mike Modano earlier. You know him on a different kind of level too, don't you,
Yeah,
Pat?
I do.
Can you explain?
Well, he's kind of my nephew, right? He's only a few years younger than I, but no, he married my brother Joe's daughter, Allison, and so I've known Mike for a long, long time. I knew Mike before he met Allison, in fact. So Mike is a great addition to the organization. But just as I said, a Hall of Famer, probably the best American to play the game.
Oh yeah.
And when you have guys like that, all of a sudden, guys in your locker room look up to players like that, and Mike can be real helpful to helping young guys understand the game a little bit more and get them through rough patches. So great addition for the Minnesota Wild.
My last question for you, Pat, is this: what are you calling? I know you called the game last night, right?
Yep.
And
yep.
What's your rest of your plan then for tonight?
Well, today I get the rest of the day off. I did my show. I'm doing the show with you guys, and then I get to relax tomorrow night. Back at it with the Minnesota Wild. We'll have fan line after following the game. Hopefully a win for the team. So that's the rest of my weekend, fellas.
Awesome. Well, other than that, Pat, I just want to thank you very much. I mean, welcome to the Twist family. And believe me, if there's any breaking hockey news, we're going to reach out to you. Hopefully you can come back on, because the way that you explain the game is bar none. So
how can I turn you guys down with that introduction?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, all of a sudden, you know, I didn't know a lot about you guys. You know, maybe you were number 5, 6, 7 on the list of the stations I go on, but all of a sudden, you vaulted to number 1.
Yeah, that's what we do. We build relationships here, Pat.
Exactly.
So we're a part of your
Thanks
family
for
as
having
well.
me, guys.
Not a problem.
Thanks you guys, Pat. Take care.
Thanks.
That's Pat Micheletti. You can find him on Twitter at PatMick2626.
Awesome.
That was nice. Yeah, no. For those of you who don't know, my dad's sitting right next to us right now.
Yeah,
we have a live studio audience. If I would have asked any more than one hockey question, my dad would have just fallen out of his chair in amazement.
No, it's awesome because, you know, I played hockey growing up. These guys are casual hockey fans. And I think the way that Pat can explain the game really breaks it down. I mean, I learned, but I can only imagine in layman's terms, you guys became even more into the game.
Yeah, he doesn't dumb it down, but it does dumb it down because he's so smart that it makes sense,
right,
you know, for us. So
exactly.
Yeah, that was great. Well, let's kick off the show.
Oh. All right, gang. So I got headlines for the week. We got some good ones. So first and foremost, more playoff teams expected under the new NFL CBA. Under the current CBA proposal that the NFL owners are pushing for, the playoff field would be expanded to 7 teams from each conference, while the regular season would be increased to 17 games per team, and the preseason shortened to 3 games per team, sources said. So that's something interesting.
Yep.
And you guys got a little bit on that. Are you for that schedule?
I like the idea of making, you know, using what now would be considered the 4th preseason game into a real game.
Sure.
I like that idea. I think that the whole idea of the whole playoff thing expanding to 7 can go either really, really well or really, really bad.
Yep.
If you have one team that's way out in front that's going to get that bye, they're going to be sitting out, and that's not fun. However, if you have the NFC like you did this year, where you have 3 teams that end with 13-3 records, going into week 17, which is their 16th game with the bye week, they're all fighting for that spot. That's going to make it that much more fun because now there's only one spot that gets that bye.
Exactly.
Instead of 2 of the 3 get it, 1 of the 3 get it. So I think that is going to be interesting. I think more often than not, we're going to have this past year than we are going to have like years in the past. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I tell you what, now we only have 4 twist topics.
Yeah, way to go, Matt.
Oh, that's all right. Not a problem. I know you're Greg's buddy, JJ Watt. You know,
good friend.
Justin James.
Yeah, his
did it right.
One of his best buddies. He had tweeted that he is not for it.
Well, okay, and the reason why is because
did he tell you this, or is this your opinion?
They talked about it. They talked about it.
Yeah.
The reason why is because the way that their contracts get broken down is you have their contract, and for the 17th game, they're capping it at $250,000 per player.
Sure.
For that, so if you have JJ Watt, Pat Mahomes, any of these big time player salaries, you're going to lose money. So the idea, what JJ Watt was actually against was the idea of capping that game. What he wants to do is now break down their salary into 17 weeks instead of 16 weeks with the asterisk.
Right.
So that's what he's saying.
Beautiful. That's why I asked for your insight. Deep. I love it.
I talked to JJ last night.
I believe you did. Second headline of the week is Vikings defensive end Everson Griffin will become a free agent. Griffin, according to a league source, has exercised the option to void the final 3 years of his deal, making him a free agent for the first time in his career. That basically is freeing up how much cap, Mike? 13, something like that.
13 mil.
Which is actually going to get the Vikes back into the black. So we're not over the cap currently, which is nice, but there's a lot more work to do. Good for Ev. I wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully they can work something out, but if not, he's a beast. So.
Yeah, I think he just wants more guaranteed money, so he was going to void it regardless.
Sure.
And he loves it here.
Yeah,
and we love Ev, so.
I was going to say, I think that he might actually, that might actually be something that would encourage him to come back even more because they can sign him for more more years and put a lot of that money in that signing bonus, which is what he wanted anyway.
And exercise the free agent market, man. See what you can get. That's what it's all about. It's his first time being a free agent. Might as well do it. Third headline, we got Kyrie Irving to have season-ending surgery. Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving will undergo season-ending arthroscopic surgery on his right shoulder. So how does that pan out? Because doesn't that have something to do with like pick-wise and things of that nature, Mike?
Well, yeah, I mean, we need them to not make the lottery to get their pick. Right. So basically their record, he hasn't played that much. Sure. They've played pretty well without it.
Better without
him.
Yeah, they're saying that might actually be a good thing for the Nets.
You know, I still don't think they're making the playoffs, but I don't think they'll be, a lottery pick. They might get that 8th seed. I think the pick will be ours, so we should be okay.
Sounds good. And then fourth and foremost, last headline of the week, you got the Fury versus Wilder fight, part 2 tonight. It will take place in Las Vegas. The two undefeated boxers fought in December 2018, which ended in a controversial split decision. So that should be an awesome fight. I know a bunch of people are pumped to see two heavyweights going at it. I mean, that's boxing in of its finest.
These guys are huge. 6'9" and 6'7".
Yes.
I was listening yesterday, Caleb Truax, who's going to be on March 21st, was talking about it. And Wilder he's like 42-0-1 in the,
Correct.
It's insane. He's 6'7", 260. He's LeBron James out there just smacking fools
and
around.
They say that he hits harder than Tyson. A lot of people were commenting on that. He is one of the hardest hitters, but then you see a guy like Tyson Fury who's out there, and he is just, they say he's the best boxer.
Yeah, boxer. Time. Yep.
Because he can just bob and weave and things of that nature. So it should be
the biggest thing. The biggest thing for this fight, though, is it brings back the heavyweight.
Yep.
I mean, you listen to the radio. A casual fan couldn't give you any more recent than Evander Holyfield.
Nope.
And that was 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
So it's about time that the heavyweight bracket comes back into play.
Well, UFC's been dominating pay-per-view for years.
Exactly.
I mean, heavyweight fights have been nothing. So this should be great.
Excellent. That's the headlines for the week. Slide into the classroom here. Learn some things.
We are going to learn some things.
Let's learn.
You're about to get learned.
I'll correct you.
Today in history. In 1860, organized baseball played in San Francisco for the first time between the Eagles and Red Rovers. Come on over.
Red Rover.
1879, first Woolworth 5-cent store opened.
Wow.
Yeah. Frank Winfield Woolworth opens the Great 5-cent store in Utica, New York, pledging to sell nothing that costs more than a nickel, expanding over the next 50 years. So I'm a huge dollar store guy. Now, Dollar General is a scam. It's not a dollar. It's generally $1. So you walk in and things are like $25. It's a scam.
Hold on now. One of our biggest fans, Patrick Stoltzman, works for them. So
sorry,
he's
Pat.
just venting. All right, no big deal.
Yeah, Frank Woolworth started the Dollar Tree brand with the 5-cent store. So everything 5 cents and under, even on the West Coast, for our West Coast listeners, it's called 99-cent or less store. Another beautiful place. To 1,000 stores, but due to changes in the retail market, the last Woolworth shop in the United States was closed down on July 17th, 1997. And that's because he was still trying to sell stuff for 5 cents in 97.
You gotta innovate. You gotta get with the times.
In 1924, USA, Calvin Coolidge delivered the first presidential radio broadcast from the White House. 1958, Australian swimmer John Conrad sets 6 world records in 2 days. John Conrad's was the Michael Phelps of the 1950s. He wasn't, but 1962, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain sets NBA record with 34 free throw attempts. Wow.
What do you make?
Here he
We're
goes
talking
again.
about attempts here.
Well, I know. Anyone can attempt them.
I'm going to attempt to flip your hat off. And of course, in 1980, do you believe it? Yes, we do. The Miracle on Ice U.S. ice hockey team beats heavily favored Soviet Union 4-3 at Lake Placid in one of the biggest upsets in Olympic history. America goes on to win the gold medal. And Ben's actually asked Pat Micheletti, what were you doing when they won gold? Well, actually, it was what were you doing when they beat the Soviets?
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
Anyway,
2 days.
Covenant cleanup, right?
Do you know who they
yeah,
had?
brought to you by.
Do you know who they had to play in the gold medal game?
No.
Uh,
We know you do.
is
You're
it-
our historian on the show.
Is it, who is it?
What's that? Sweden.
You were around back then, so you should know.
Yeah.
I was 3.
I wasn't even a thought.
I wasn't even 10 years in the mind of.
I don't even think my parents were doing it.
So I'm
back
glad
then.
we have you around here, right?
In
So you can bring back that moment.
2009, Slumdog Millionaire wins at the 2009 Oscars.
2009 was a great year.
That was a good
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Born on this day in history, George Washington, born February 22nd, 1732, just a few days after Greg. Also born on this day in history, Ted Kennedy. Yeah, the leader of the Kennedys. So
That was great.
there you
I
go.
like
Done
that
yet?
one.
Now we're
How
done.
long are you gonna talk?
All right.
You did good.
I give Mike a lot of credit. We actually have a segment coming in later, and Mike got early with the Dollar General rant.
Yeah.
So
I did.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of off the cuff. I was just.
I'm a fan of the thrift stores as well, and I'm with you. When I walk into Dollar Tree, I know how much things are going to cost. Walk into Dollar General, you
You gotta look at price
Yeah,
tag.
you got. I don't want to look at price tags.
When I go to the Dollar Tree and I spend $40, I want 40 items. Basically.
plus
that's,
tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
40, 97, whatever it is.
I walked
but-
out of the Dollar Tree the other day, $6.28 or something. 6 items in the cart.
Yep.
That's what I wanted. That's what I want to do.
It's beautiful. You guys are all about the bargains. It's good.
All about it.
Put your hands together for the twist topics on the news.
Woo! So there's only going to be 4. 'cause
Thanks, Matt.
Ben stole one of them.
It's all right. That's what I'm here for.
Twist topic number 1.
What do you think of the new format for the NBA All-Star Game? So they used a target score of 157.
Mhm.
They got that number by adding 24, one of Kobe's numbers,
Yep.
to the leading team score after 3 quarters. So next year, they'll probably change that number from 24. But that's what they did this year.
It was supposed to be 35, and I think it was Paul George who said, "Let's just make it 24 this year."
Sure.
But it was targeted at 35, which I kind of like it. I'm glad that it was easy to explain, because when they were talking about it on the radio before, and it's like, what are they going to do?
Sure.
But once they got into the game, it was fun to watch. And the thing I loved about it, and I know you guys are going to hammer me for this, Giannis doesn't care about anything other than
God.
winning.
Yeah.
He before the game, during the game, and in the fourth quarter, he was looking for James Harden, because all he wanted to do was put his best scorer on James Harden, because James Harden can't play defense.
Mm.
He was openly saying that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got your little Milwaukee.
Got my Giannis line
There
in.
you go. Way to drop it. Didn't watch any of the actual All-Star game this year. Watched a lot of the skills competition. I love that. I thought the whole controversy for the dunk thing. I mean, how many 10s you going to give people? Were
Yeah.
all of those dunks really 10s across the board? I don't know. So other than that, really fun to watch. Love the skills contest, way better than the All-Star game. But from what I've heard through Twitter and other places, it's better than it was, All-Star game wise, which is really what every brand, NBA, MLB, all that stuff, they really need to focus on the All-Star game, Pro Bowl, things like that, because how many people really watch it could be better.
What's
So,
cool is they did a target, every quarter the winning team gets, donated money to a charity.
Sure.
The fun part about it that I liked is there's never any defense played in these games.
Right.
So come the fourth quarter with a target score, now it's targeted in,
Mhm.
and it's like, now we're going for it. And the competitive nature, the best in the world gets, geared up and they go. And that was fun. So I don't think they'll ever change it back.
Nice.
I think they're always going to have a target score. I'd like to see them play to 300. I want to see Giannis dripping
Giannis.
sweat.
Jero? You eat Jeros too?
Twist topic number 2.
Number 2.
Numero dos.
There it is. Let's hear it.
should the Vikings walk away from Stefan Diggs?
What are you going to get for him? That's the whole key, right?
Well, he's going to Oakland, and we can get quite a bit. They have 5 picks in the first 91.
Sure. I mean, if you're going to get something that's worth it, obviously drop him. I mean, it's a tough situation because you got to think, like, he's so encryptic. And I really try to think, like, how many of his tweets are really aimed towards that, or is he just, looking for clout and clickbait, things like that. It's tough, man. I think he is expendable. And I like that because he is a stud. Nobody's denying that he's a stud, but he's expendable. At that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, whatever you want to say. Teams need that. There's need out there. So if you can get something for him, get rid of him. That's it.
Here's the thing. The reason why the Vikings, I think, were so successful with their wide receivers was because they were able to have both of those components that most teams don't have. You had your guy who was willing to go across the middle in Thielen,
Yep.
and then you had your deep threat.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the crazy thing. Any team can find a deep threat.
Right.
You can replace Diggs. You're not going to replace him with the exact production. But in order to make Thielen actually productive, you need the deep threat. All you have to do is find another guy who can run really, really fast, really, really far.
Troy Williamson could run really fast, really far. Stefan
I
Diggs
get what you're saying,
is
though.
the best
But-
deep ball receiver in the league.
Yeah.
But
Is he not?
But all you need is someone to open up Thielen, which is, I think, your more important player on the offense.
Sure.
Because then it also opens up Rudolph, Irv Smith.
But you're saying
Rudolph's
he's expendable.
I'm saying he's expendable.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Oh,
I don't think-
he's gone.
I don't think you can get a first-round pick for him, but I think that a team like Oakland would be willing to give up a second-round pick for him.
I think you can
Because
get a
of
first.
his-
You can get a first.
If you
And
don't get a first for him, I don't think you
Not in this draft.
I'm going on another rant.
There's going to be six.
Not
There's going to
yet.
be 6
Sports
wide receivers.
Oh, I
taken-
already have. We do have a new segment called Sports Rants.
Go ahead. Let the people get.
And I got another one. Stefan Diggs, goodbye.
Yeah.
Go. Leave. You want to delete my tweets? You're Minnesota. Oh, go. I hate you. I have your jersey. I'm going to burn it.
Oh,
I'm
no.
pissed.
Yeah. I think that's another aspect of it, though. He is a drama king, right?
I don't want
And
it.
That's the problem, with the Zimmer team. It's all about keeping stuff in-house, especially if you're going to have issues. Keep it in-house. Why does it always have to go to social media?
And why are you deleting all of your Vikings tweets?
Sure.
You're looking for attention.
Correct? And that's that clickbait, things of that. He is relevant.
He is amazing. Like I said,
Right.
you throw that ball up, he's just not running and stretching the field. He's going to find the ball and react to it. He's
Sure.
the best in the league at deep routes. But he can
dig
go.
that.
And we will get a first. We'll get a first and a third from Oakland.
Can you dig it?
Twist topic number 3.
No. Joe Burrow came out and said he has the leverage leading up to the draft. Will he pull an Eli, and should he?
No, he won't. And I think what he's looking to do right now is I think he's trying to check his value. And I think he wants to see, well, no, what I mean by that is
Sure.
I think what he's trying to find out is how serious is Cincinnati about taking him. I think that he's being coached by a lot of guys, a lot of PR guys who are telling him what to say, and I think he's reacting to a lot of it. I think he's going to be the number 1 pick. I think he's going to enjoy. He's got family roots from Ohio. I think he's going to play for Cincinnati. I think he's going to enjoy it. I think he's going to do just fine. I think this is a whole lot of drama being built up because he's just listening to everything everyone's saying. He's a 22-year-old kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, you do see it every year. I mean, when you have a guy that's the for sure number 1 pick, you always hear about people saying, are they going to use leverage, things like that. If I was Joe Burrow, would I use my leverage and pull an Eli? Yes, of course I would. Cincinnati is trash. You are not going to turn that team around yourself. And just that front office and see the moves that they make, things like that. I mean, people don't want to stay there. Okay, so should he pull an Eli or should they deal that first round pick? And yeah, you should deal your first overall pick, and you should get more because you need a lot to turn that franchise around, not just a quarterback. And unfortunately, you'll see talented guys come into the league and be thrown into the QB1 position right away, and they can't handle it yet. You hear about, Greg talks about it all the time, how you got to have guys that come in and get groomed and before they're thrust into that starting role. They're too young. They haven't played at that speed or that strength of a game. It's super tough. not to saying he might be able to be okay.
Well, not every team can groom their,
Sure.
quarterback for
Yep.
6 years so he comes out starting with gray hairs.
Sure, and I get that. Yep. But like I said, if I was Joe, yeah, I would flake out.
Yeah, we'll give him Stefan Pigs. Oink, oink.
Yeah, straight. Yeah, you're gonna get that.
Wouldn't that be nice? God, you'd know it's rigged if the sounds like that, Awesome.
All right.
Twist topic number 4.
Tom Thibodeau is reportedly in the running for the Knicks
Oh my
starting
God.
job.
That's
Do they dare?
Oh, it's so funny. When I saw that twist topic, I laughed.
Well, I
just
had to
like
get the
am right now.
scary music. I'd
Well,
be scared
well,
shitless if I was a Knicks fan.
You're already scared being a Knicks fan, for one.
True.
2, would Tibbs want to go there?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
You think?
Absolutely.
he'll make a boatload of money if Tom Thibodeau,
Yeah.
Tibbs,
Tibbs.
if he ever wants to be a successful coach again, there's only one place for him to coach: college basketball in the Big Ten.
Sure.
He's the
there you
only
go.
human being on the planet that still coaches defense.
Yeah.
And they're the only conference that plays it.
Gophers
So
need a new coach.
That's the only place where he would actually be successful, and the
Sure.
players that he recruits would actually listen to him, because these are the only kids who actually still play defense.
Correct.
He's not an NFL. He's not an NBA coach.
Or an NFL, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just not. He had one player in his entire history of coaching that actually liked him,
Sure.
and
Well, a couple, but yeah,
Well-
I get what you're saying. Handful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So because the way he coaches isn't the way these players react.
Sure.
He's treating them like they're college kids that grew up in a small town and all they want is that limelight.
Yep.
These guys already have it.
They got
might-
multi-million dollars.
He
and they
might
don't
make
give
a better
crap.
NFL coach with that defense.
Yeah, I might as well give it a shot. Good topics. Good topics.
Wanted to touch on one thing. So we do, like I mentioned, have a new segment, the Sports Rant segment. That'll be done right after our game. But for all of our viewers and our listeners on rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can either comment on this or email the Weekend Sports Talk at Gmail. We want to hear from you. We'll do a poll on the page to see if you have any segments that you'd be interested in seeing us do on the show.
Yes, love it.
So it's time.
I hate when he does this.
They're going head to head
Let's
again,
go!
folks.
Let's go!
Now it's a new game.
That's
Twist
always
Nation
good, man.
has not heard this one before. The name is called Who Am I? It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to go down the list. I have 8 people. I will be reading like I'm them. If it's a woman, I will not be sounding like a woman.
These are going to be things like who Matt's third grade teacher was, his mom.
I hope so, because I'm fearful of this game. So, you're just gonna read as if you were them?
Number 1,
Sure.
if you know,
Can we just yell out the name of the person who?
Are we buzzing?
you're buzzing.
Okay.
All right.
Meh. Okay, if you get it wrong, do you remember who it goes to? Goes to our cardboard buddy
Oh,
back
Oh,
here.
Dozier! There he
Dozier's
is.
in the mix.
Yeah, look at that pearly
Rooting
white
for
smile.
Doge.
Dozier actually had a point last week.
Number
That's
1.
right.
I was born in Southern California. I grew up in Las Vegas. I was the first Nevada Rays draft pick and player in history. I played in Minnesota. I play in Pittsburgh. My wife is on the Power Trip Morning Show on
Matt.
KFAN. Matt.
Jason Zucker.
That is correct.
Let's go!
Woo! Wow, it took that many. I'm glad I came up with
Thanks.
a lot of questions. That was a hockey one too, so
It's
I
all right.
figured.
Yeah,
It's tough. I'm just
you
trying to
could've
get
kept
the grasp.
going, and I wouldn't have
I'm just
gotten
trying to get the grasp of it.
Well, let's
This is
see. The last one is I am Jason Zucker.
Oh, there you go.
So I was out. I was
good.
out.
All right.
All right.
Next
So
one.
Ben's 1-0. Number 2, I learned my trade right here, not Minuteman, Burnsville, Minnesota. I'm an Olympic gold medal winner.
Matt. Lindsey Vaughn.
Boom.
Let's go! Let's go! I love it.
So let's see if Greg. Third one. I have met Mike Reeves. He didn't even let me get to that one.
I love it.
Mike
Unbelievable.
did have a picture of him and Lindsey Vaughn on his Facebook page for about a month.
For the viewers, she's actually on the show later today.
I
so.
dated Tiger Woods. I dated PK Subban. I am Lindsey.
I like how the
Vaughn.
last clue is giving it away.
Well, basically,
It's all right. Next one.
Come
How about-
on.
Keep the
2-0.
Let's go.
Number 3. I'm retired. I'm considered one of the greatest of all time. I went to LSU. I have rings. I'm a movie star. I'm a rapper. I'm on TV.
Correct. Shaq.
Good job.
Some teams I played for, it was hot, sunny, and had lakes.
Where was the Kazam?
You could buy my shoes at Walmart. I was a reserve officer of the law. I am very large. I am Shaq.
I am Shaq.
The Diesel.
The Diesel.
Greg
All
gets
right.
on the board.
Attaboy, Greg. Good job.
All right. Number 4. I grew up in Minnesota. I went to college in Minnesota. I played professionally in Minnesota. I coach in Minnesota. Who am I?
Matt. Ryan Saunders.
Greg. Herb Brooks.
Dozier.
Lindsey Whalen.
Ah, good one.
All right.
It's so sexist that I don't think about women.
I was going to say, I never was.
God, sorry, Lindsay. I know you're listening.
Mama Benz, get them later, Taylor.
We still treat our women right. Believe it.
Yeah, so I did throw that in the mix as kind of a,
That was a good one. Curveball.
we've got
Yeah.
2 women in
It's
there
actually on the
already.
news
So
last night. I should have thought about that. Yeah.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
tough one.
It was.
All right, so we got 2, 1, and
Dozier.
1.
Tied with a cardboard cutout.
Question
They
number
win, man.
5. I'm dead. I played 22 seasons. I was a big drinker and womanizer. I started my career as a pitcher, but wasn't known for it. I won 7 World Series. I have
Greg.
714 home
Babe
runs.
Ruth.
Good job, Greg.
There it is. 2-2-1.
What was it like watching him play?
Yeah.
Actually, he wasn't that big. That's the funny thing. He's only like 5'10".
Sure.
Yeah, it's.
You went to high school with him, or a
He's a couple years ahead of me.
couple years ahead? No problem.
Yeah, he was the salt in the sweat. Greg was the salt in the sweat.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Question number 6. I'm dead. My casket was 8 feet long. I was a political activist. I was drafted in the 2nd round. My son currently plays professionally. I stood 7 feet 7
Greg.
inches.
Manute Bol.
I am
job.
Sudanese. I am Manute Bull. 8-foot long casket.
Think about that. It's a lot of lumber.
Yeah.
It's a lot of lumber.
No doubt.
All right, we got a tie game.
That's an ice
So we
fishing
need
house.
Doge to get this one right to go into a 3-way tie for the last question.
Is this the last question?
It is not. We need Doge to get this right
Oh, I get it.
to get a 3-way
All right.
tie for the last question.
Let her rip.
I'll talk slower. I was born in 1956.
Of course, Greg's going to get this one.
Yeah. I won a national title at Notre Dame. I started my professional career in 1979.
Greg. Joe Montana.
There he is. You know, I'm one away from him. I got 3 rings up there. So,
Oh, my God.
all right.
He played fantasy football.
Yep.
It's a league.
And you know what's funny is Greg was a loser for 2 of those ones. All right. So we got GBG with 3, Benzie with 2, and Doji with 1. Greg
I need
needs this
I need
to
it.
eliminate it. Otherwise, we end in another stupid twist tongue
That's what we go for.
tie.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm going to have to come up with more questions. I can't be tying anymore. I'm considered one of the greatest of all time. I was born in 1940, a year before Greg. My nickname is the Golden Bear. My name gets confused
Greg.
with an actor.
Greg.
I said it.
He said O first.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you
Oh,
said O first.
Jack Nicklaus.
Oh, I would have gotten it wrong anyways. Yes. Good job, Greg.
Good job,
Good job.
Greg.
Take that W back to Wisconsin there, Greg.
The only
All right?
ones you got right were the Minnesota ones.
That's correct. Yeah, and the ones that were around the time that I was alive.
okay.
Yeah.
So, who am I, champ? Greg, that one was
Good
for
job.
your
I'm gonna,
dad.
I'm gonna get the belts.
You should probably get a ring for that.
Yeah, I should get a ring.
Might as
We're
well,
gonna do
yeah.
some sort of a song for it.
Something like that,
I
right?
had to do it. My dad's here.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're over.
I'm
over.
glad you got the W.
Now it's time for our new segment, Sports Rant.
That's an interesting clip. I like that.
Thanks.
Kind of gives me a headache.
That's you ranting.
I get to go first?
Go ahead.
You signed yourself up.
My rant for the week is about Gophers men's basketball. Okay? Lost to Indiana, 68-56. You're up by 3 points at halftime. Indiana was 6-8 in conference matchups prior to Wednesday's victory over the Gophers. Gophers have lost 5 of the last 6 and are 1-8 on the road this season. It's time to, you're going to hear it. It's time to shuffle the deck, get rid of Patino, because you got all this Minnesota talent that are going everywhere else. And I get that. You know, when I was in high school, if I would have ever had offers from colleges, I would have wanted to go away from home. I understand that. But also, if you have the allure of a player's coach here, somebody that the young kids want to play for and want to stay in home for and actually build something, that's huge. And it's unfortunate because Patino's had all this time to try to get people to stay. I mean, you got Oturu. That's huge. Hopefully, if he does stay, you get Oturu to stay one more year. That would be clutch, even though he's still one of the best big men in college basketball right now. But I still think he can finesse his game and get more money. So that's my rant for the week. Gophers need to shuffle the deck. Beautiful.
These kids nowadays are such self-entitled pricks. They don't care about staying in home. All they care about is themselves.
I'm telling you, if you can be a Pat Micheletti, be a Pat Micheletti.
Well, he's a class act. That's what old school gets you.
Right. Let's bring back the old school. All
Damn
right.
kids.
I can't. My blood pressure's
That was a side rant on his
Go
rant.
ahead.
Damn
Wow.
kids. Damn kids.
Okay, so Mike swore earlier, so I'm gonna get a little political.
Uh-oh.
I've sworn twice, I think.
I know.
Let's
naughty.
go.
Okay,
Flip
so
it.
my rant for this week is something I have a serious problem with, and that's Myles Garrett.
Mm.
You get suspended for 6 games for grabbing a helmet of another player and whacking him in the head with it, Mason Rudolph. I get it. You lost your cool. 4 months later, do not come out and say that the reason why you did it was because he dropped a racial slur on you when there were players from both teams around and referees and no one else heard it. You cannot defame someone's character like that. There was a player who was universally seen as one of the greatest high school players around in football, was signed a letter of intent to play at USC. His name was Brian Banks. His senior year of high school, a woman accused him of rape, got on the witness stand, said she was raped by him, had to spend 5 years in prison. She later came out and said that it never happened, that she was lying because she didn't want her parents to know that she was out past curfew. This man lost his life, his well-being. Why? Because a woman lied. Myles Garrett, you cannot defame someone's character by saying that they will just go off and use a racial slur when he never did. If he did, you know what? I'll be the first to apologize. But when you have referees around, when you have players from both teams that everyone has said, we never heard him say that. You know what? Tell the public, you know what? I'm sorry for what I did. I lost my cool. I grabbed his helmet. I didn't know what I was thinking. Take your medicine. But do not try to justify your behavior by saying someone's a racist.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Good job. Yeah.
All right, so he went, let's go backwards.
Yeah. The backwards hat.
Backwards
Yeah,
rant. The San Francisco Giants confirmed that they will not include former first baseman Aubrey Huff in its upcoming World Series reunion event because of his social media posts supporting Donald Trump. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can't go to he hit 294 with a home run during the World Series, and because he's a Donald Trump supporter, you can't come. We're not going to the White House. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. It's gotten so political in every sport. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't care which president it is or who you want to support. If I helped you win a flipping ring, I'm coming. He should just show up and just
Take over the
Here
show.
I am. Here I am. Go Donald. He should do whatever he wants. It's gotten so political and ridiculous. This world that we're starting to live in and we're raising kids in drives me insane.
Who is the-
That's a great segment.
I
I
was
like
gonna say,
that.
who's the old man who sits on the porch yelling at kids to get off his lawn? I thought that was my role.
No,
but look at you,
I
take
love
it
it.
over.
Yeah.
I'm a little ornery today.
God,
kidding.
he's venting. I can tell.
Every
you are.
day is
He is.
Festivus.
I'm just
Oh,
sick and tired of this. I love it.
Mama Reeves is sitting at home getting ribs ready, and he's
Ooh.
just letting it, burning his calories right now. He's getting it.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I love this new
Oh,
segment.
and I got a lot of problems, so I got a whole month's worth of
Yeah, I
stuff.
bet.
Oh,
you do.
Yeah,
we're going
let's
to be
go.
ranting and raving. And like I mentioned earlier, we need your help. You
Yeah.
come up with a segment. If we get a few ideas, like I said, we're going to put a poll. Your guys' vote. We're going to have some fun with it. So
Beautiful.
again, thank you. We're live over there on Twitter, Facebook here. And thanks for listening on rtfsportsnetwork.com. They are working right now on an apparel link for you.
Gear. That
So
way-
you can get your Twist gear, Twist Nation, at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Beautiful.
All right. Let's do player to watch, Greg.
Yes.
Player to watch this week, I think, is someone to watch in spring training. I want to see how Josh Donaldson handles the role of being the highest paid player in Twins history. He's always been that all-star caliber player. That goes without saying. When he was with the Atlanta Braves, he didn't have to take on that role. There's a lot of pressure taking on that role of you make more money than Joe Mauer ever did. And
Sure.
Joe Mauer was a hometown guy. I'm really looking forward to see how he handles that, especially when, now Sano moves because of him. I want to see what he does with that, and I'm really excited for it because I think he's a good guy who's really going to handle it well.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
All I've heard about him so far at spring training, and this was from fans on social media, is he stands there, he signs everything until nobody is left. He's been doing he used to have instructional batting videos on YouTube and stuff. So he's helping all the younger guys. He's really taken on that role. And he's such a Twins player.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Brewers do things, but here in Minnesota, we're a hometown Twins feel good story.
Right.
So, he's just another great guy added to the ball club. We're happy for him.
more of my Ryan Braun jersey next week.
Who?
There you go.
Didn't he have like one good year? Or
Yeah, where he's
I love
MVP.
Yeah.
whatever.
Pretty good year.
It's a decent year, yeah.
Again, a day in the life where you get to know your three hosts on a more personal level than you
Yeah.
already do.
Get
Ben?
personal. Day in the life of. So let's start off with today. Obviously, I woke up at 2 a.m., went to work.
Oh, God.
No big deal, right? Get done at about 8:30. Went home, got this stuff, came here, hung out, went over prep, did the show. Now, after this, I'm going to go buy my grandmother, Carol, a card. And then we're going to be going out to Lee Center, Minnesota for a steak fry for her 80th birthday. So happy birthday from Twist, Graham. We will see you later. That is just a day in the life of this guy.
And he
Yeah.
literally,
No big deal.
I woke up, I stretched,
Yeah.
I brushed my
It's
teeth,
no big deal, man.
I peed,
know.
and it sprinkled a little bit on the
out
side
there
of the toilet.
I'm out there making money while these guys are drooling on their pillows. So it's no big
You go to bed
deal.
at 4
Hey.
o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, yeah.
I came in here and I've been working ever since the show, so I don't want to hear it. My day in the
Beautiful.
life consists of yesterday after work, having some troubles with CenturyLink. I hope somebody from CenturyLink is watching because I hate you. I can't seem to get my internet figured out. So my day in the life is going to turn into 3 days of my life to a week of my life, and I just need internet. So please, please help me.
Beautiful.
Greg.
All right, my day in life was yesterday as well. After work, my dad was driving into town. He had a perfect ETA. We're all going to meet at the hotel, and my dad comes in town and gets a hotel for me, him, and the kids. And I called up the kids. They're at their mom's house, and I said, "I'm going to be there in 15 minutes. Have your suitcases ready. We're going to meet Pop at the hotel." I'm not going to say my kids were excited, but they were on the end of the driveway with suitcases in hand as I pulled up, ready to go, running to the car. So my day in life was their excitement. It's good to see Papa and hang out for the weekend.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Twist, the Weekend Sports Talk, episode 12. Do not leave your seats. Immediately following this, we're going live with a special Bauman edition of Twist.
It's the Bauman.
Next week, we are live. We are on location. We are at Absolute Sports Cards in Savage, and we're going to be interviewing former Minnesota Viking Mike Harris.
Beautiful.
So be there or be dare or be whatever.